In this episode, we have something really good for the coaches out there who follow our social media platforms. I wanted to discuss service first. Okay. And the reason why this is so important to me is because it's something that has completely transformed my business here at Optimal Power Performance. Okay. So if you don't know who I am, my name is AJ. I'm the founder of OPP. And we're a baseball training company located in Phoenix, Arizona, and we have a location in Washington. We started back in like 2017, 2018. That's when I actually founded something called Arroyo Sports Performance, but I realized later that I didn't want my name on the door as it started to grow. So I changed it to Optimal Power Performance, shorter OPP, in 2019. And since then, we have grown at a very steady rate. Okay, it's been continuous growth every year. And in 2022, I actually started doing consulting for coaches because I felt like, I was really passionate about helping other people also grow. Because throughout that process of being an entrepreneur, I truly valued the lessons that I learned along the way, because I realized that these little things that I was struggling with in my business, in order to get to that next level in my business, I had to go through a lot of crap. I had to fail. There was a lot of hard times in that process. But then once I came out on the other side, I was like, wow, I learned a ton. And, I wasn't thinking about starting a podcast at that time. I was actually kind of bad in front of a camera. Believe it or not. So at that time, I was like, how can I help people? So I just started posting on my social media, and I was like, hey, if you're interested in, getting some guidance in your coaching, like here's a 1-hour consult fee and I'll hop on the phone with you. And so I started doing that. And what for me, it was very fulfilling to help guys do that. But I also started to see a lot of the same problems in the industry that I was facing. And these are problems from people who have been in the game for 2 decades, right? Like I started training guys in 2015. I started a business in 2017. I changed the company name in like 18, 19. But I was in the game for 5-6 years, and I was giving consults to these guys who were making drastically less money than me, and they didn't have the same systems built that I did. And I was like, how have you been in the game for so long, and yet you're this far behind? And the one thing that kept sticking out to me, granted, there was a lot of issues. There was a lot of mistakes that a lot of people made, including me, in that process. But the one thing that really stuck out to me was that they didn't prioritize the actual service. Okay. And what I mean by that is like, yeah, they were great at what they did. They were really good coaches, right? Like they knew all the ins and out of strength and conditioning if they were gym owners, or they knew all the ins and outs of throwing development for the throwing coaches and hitting development for the hitting coaches and things like that. Like they were experts in their niche. The problem was the service itself wasn't that good. Okay. And it was consistent, like across the board. Most of the people that were struggling was because they didn't have a quality service to give. Okay. So what is a quality? A quality service is when an avatar gets brought on board with you, or your client gets brought on board with you. They know that they're getting brought on board to solve a very specific problem that they have, and you're going to be the person to solve it for them. And you have a general timeline on when you can solve that thing for them, assuming that they participate in your services the best that they can, right? Because you can't get somebody to lose 20 pounds of fat by just telling them that, hey, we have a plan for you, and the date to lose it is by this date. They got to put in the work. They got to do the diet. They got to do the training. Like that's obvious, right? So it's not guaranteed, but you have a general timeline, and you have systems put in place within your company in order to assure that that actually happens. And most of these people didn't. Most of these people just were kind of good at what they did. And I say kind of because if they were really good and they didn't just know a lot about the subject, but really good at what they did, they would have had these systems built, and they would be getting referrals constantly in the door to the point where they would be forced to hire other people in order to help build their business, which is what happened to me. And so this is why I'm really passionate about this subject, is because I truly believe in service first. So little background on me. 2015, I started this training company. It wasn't a training company. Sorry. I just started training athletes, and I did it selfishly just for myself to, if you know the story, I did it to just get better at baseball. Like I was trying to figure everything out for myself. My training, I was obsessed with it, throwing, strength training, hitting the whole nine. I was testing every methodology, every philosophy, everything out there, reading every book, studying every YouTube video, the whole nine, right? Deep diving player development to its finest. Over the next 2 years, while I was chasing this through college and pro ball, independent baseball, for those who know what that is. And when I was doing that, I got like a list of like 200 athletes training for free, literally for free, nobody paying me anything, which kind of sucked. But because I was dirt broke, not making hardly any money. And in that process, though, I figured out a lot of stuff about how to organize player development, strength conditioning systems, throwing development, hitting development. I figured out a lot of stuff on what worked, what didn't work. Okay. The next step to that was figuring out a system that I could get athletes to come into and regularly repeat the process of success over and over and over and over and over. So that's what I obsessed about for the next few years. And when that system became a thing, those athletes started referring other people to me. And it was at this point in time when I realized that the service had to improve. So I played a game with myself, and then I also played this game with other employees whenever they get brought on, okay? I call it the $100,000 game. I actually learned it from Alex Hormozi. I believe he talked about it in one of his podcasts. Maybe he mentioned it in a book. I don't remember. But I did this game with myself where I said, okay, if somebody paid me $100,000 a month, okay, for this service, what kind of service would I give that person? And then I just started creating a list of like all these big, crazy, massive ideas. Now, obviously, I couldn't afford most of them, but it allowed me to tailor down these little things that I could implement in my business to make the service drastically better. Okay. Little things. I mean, like making sure that whenever a coach responds to a remote client, it's not with a text, unless it's a yes or no answer or something really quick and small. It's always with a demonstration video. It's small. It means so little in the grand scheme of things, but so much for that relationship with the athlete. It's the little follow-up text message to an athlete when I know that maybe their arm's been a little bit sore the last couple of weeks, and I check in with them like, hey, how's that arm feeling? You know, hey, maybe next week we go about this process this way instead, just to make sure that things are on the up and up. Maybe we're looking at a deload to try to help you recover a little bit better so you can, come back from this. And so, but those are the little things that really helped improve the service. And they wouldn't have started happening if I didn't make this list. And we continuously do this as a business. And every year our service continuously grows. And so what I see most people doing though, is most people will just try to be like everyone else. So they'll see that these big name companies are the big baseball brands and training facilities that have been around a while. But you can do this in any industry, by the way, just gym owners in general, the big gyms out there, than what they're doing. They see all these people making moves, strategies with their business and buying certain pieces of equipment and doing certain things. They're like, I need to do that. Like FOMO, they're missing out on something and they're like, I need to do that. But you don't. Like, why do you need to do that? Does it really impact your business? Does it impact the bottom line because it improves your service that much for you to add that piece of equipment, for you to add another thing to your employees' to-do list just because somebody else is doing it or what have you? Does it impact the bottom line? Does it make your service better? If it doesn't, you probably don't need that thing. At the end of the day, you should be authentic. I shouldn't say you should. I would recommend that you be authentic in your pursuit of growing your business anyways, because people love authenticity. People love seeing exactly what you stand for, what your principles are, the things you believe in, and they're going to buy into you before they buy into whatever your program is, right? So being authentic in that pursuit also means like you're not going to copy a bunch of other people just because they have stuff in their service. But what you can do is you can play that $100,000 game with yourself and be like, okay, I need to improve my service drastically. And actually, here's what you need to do. Here's what I think that you should do if you're struggling right now, increasing your revenue, or your athletes aren't getting the best results, or you're not getting a ton of referrals, okay? I would recommend that you start with a questionnaire to your current clients and be like, how am I doing? Like, what are the things that you would love to see that this business do that we're not currently providing? Or how are we currently providing this service to you? Is there anything else that we can improve? Word the questions however you want to fit your business, but get a good scope of what you're currently doing for your clients, okay? At this point, you're probably doing it on your own. You probably don't have a lot of employees. Maybe you do. Maybe you're in over your head. I don't know. But do this ASAP. And then once you get that list, actually improve your service. The marketplace will tell you exactly what you need to do to improve it. Okay, so for an example, when I was renting facilities from all over Arizona, I was renting a mound here, a cage here, a weight room here, a weight room there, and I was doing it to provide services to everybody. I was like, well, that's not really conducive for good results because I am working 18 hours. So like I'm traveling from 4 a.m. until, I don't know, when I get home at 10 p.m. at night, not seeing my family, like that's not great. I actually ran myself into the ground so hard, I passed out in the middle of my living room one night and had to go to the emergency room. And the doctor told me, you work too much. Like you're overtraining. You are killing yourself from doing this. And I was like, okay, step back. How would I improve this service for everyone? Okay. For my betterment of my quality of life, for my family, and for these people. Well, I need to get my own place. And so out of necessity, because I was also constantly getting kicked out of other people's, I had to constantly bounce around when I was renting from other people because I'd be like providing assessments and doing detailed programming. I'd be really good at my service, not to like toot my own horn, but I was really good. I was really passionate about this service that other people's clients at these places that I was training tried to train with me. And whenever that started to happen, they were like, ooh, hey, you got to go. Like now you're turning into competition. You're not really helping. And so I was like, whatever, I have to get my own place. So I got my own place. Boom, quality of service went drastically up. And so did my prices because I was worth way more when everything was in one building. Okay. The next step, a couple years later, we started really taking off. And I'm pushed to the bare minimum. I'm there all day long again. And I'm like, all right, it's time to get a team to help improve this service. So I start making hires in order to provide quality of service to these clients. All right. And one of the big fears with that, with new entrepreneurs, is you feel like nobody can provide this service the same way you can. Dude, get over yourself. Okay. Get over yourself. You're never going to scale with that mentality. The sooner you start making hires, the sooner you start learning. Okay. So I started making hires. I ran through a few employees because they were bad, but I was also bad. I was bad at leading. Thus, they were bad at being employees because I was a bad leader. I didn't know how to manage people's time. I didn't know how to delegate certain tasks. I didn't know how to, orchestrate certain events so that way people could feel like, they're a part of the family. I didn't know how to do these things. And if I didn't start hiring, I would have never learned. And so I failed in that process, but I learned and we grew. And then as we grew and the team started growing, now we sit down and we do the same thing that I did 5-6 years ago when I said, how do we improve this service? We're constantly focused on the service first, because at the end of the day, nobody cares about how much you know until they know about how much you care. And as long as we continuously give a service that is worth 10 times the amount of money that our clients pay, we will win. Without a doubt, we will win. And so will you. All right. So I hope that this information helps you guys. I hope that you see just from a bird's eye view, like if you are struggling right now, okay, and you're not sure about what to do. You're not sure about, should I run ads? Should I take out a massive loan? Should I just go copy what X and Y and Z are doing because they look successful? I promise if you just improve your service drastically first, you'll probably start seeing more success. You will, 100%, not probably. You will start seeing more success, okay? Before you take out that loan, before you go try to copy somebody else, before you go try to run an ad, all right, improve the service first, because unfortunately, it sucks to tell you this, but I'm going to be honest with you. You're probably just not that good. You're probably not getting referrals because people aren't getting that much better. Okay, your service probably isn't amazing. Otherwise, all the clients that you have would be telling other people about your product, about your service. They'd be like, oh, my guy, AJ, man, he's awesome. He's so good at this. You need to go see him for this. He helped me increase my throwing velocity 5 miles an hour last summer, and I feel the best that I've ever felt. That's what they'll do for you constantly when you have a service that works, when you have systems in place that try to guarantee an outcome, the best that you can, an outcome that is consistent with all of your clients. All right, service first. I can't say it enough. If you're struggling right now, that's what I highly recommend. So I'm passionate about this stuff. I love helping other coaches, but I shut down my consulting service a couple years ago to just isolate and focus solely on OPP. And now that we have a podcast and my platform's getting just a little bit bigger, I hope to be able to provide more value like this to coaches who are out there following us, watching us, trying to grow their own businesses. And I encourage you. We're hiring, right? We give everybody and that works here a seat at the table, an opportunity to steer the vision for this company, an opportunity to grow with this company and really earn your paycheck. Okay, it's not a pyramid scheme where the guy at the top is the only one cashing out, everybody else is at the bottom sucking it. That's not what I want. That's not how we're going to grow. That's not conducive for the vision that I see for this company being the biggest baseball brand in the world one day. And so, if you're interested in joining a team, learning from me, learning from the guys that are a part of this and growing something together, maybe you're not the guy that needs to have your own thing. Not everybody is. Not everybody has to own their own business and go through these struggles. Maybe that's not for you. We have a lot of guys on our team who that's not for, but they are absolutely amazing technicians at the things that they do right now, and they're scaling and they're growing and they're helping steer the vision of this company, and they're a part of something great. And for a lot of people, that's the route that you should take. I'm not saying you have to join us and reach out and apply. I'm just saying that maybe it's not for you, okay? And that's the hard truth. It's not for everyone. You got to be willing to suck shit for a very long time if you want to be successful as an entrepreneur. And if you want to build something massive, I'm talking multi-million dollars worth, massive, like it's not going to be easy. It's going to be the hardest thing that you've ever done in your entire life. This is the hardest thing that I've ever done in my entire life, is growing and building this company. But it's for me. I absolutely love it. If I lost it all tomorrow, I'd start all over and I would just do it better and faster the next time. So if this helps you, please do me a favor, like, follow, subscribe, share this podcast with anybody and everybody that you can if you feel like it would help them. But yeah, thanks for watching.